Hi, this is Tim. Welcome to Tim Can Cook. So the last few shrimp or prawn videos that you've seen here, I've been whining a little bit, complaining a little bit that I haven't been able to find head-on prawns. Now, I did finally find a fish market that had them, fresh off the coast of North Carolina. And you really can't make prawn bisque without head-on prawns. Now, I've read a few recipes that say use chicken stock. Doesn't that make it chicken bisque with prawns? Or vegetable stock? Yeah, vegetable bisque with prawns. I've never liked that approach. And you really need the flavor that's in the heads as well as the shells in order to make a successful bisque. This same method can be applied to crab bisque and lobster bisque, as well as crayfish or crawfish bisque, which I have had here in North Carolina, although it's a little bit rare. So the way you prep them is very simple. We're going to tear the heads off. I'm going to take our little deveining tool and go down the back here. You can use a knife for this, you can use scissors for this. We're going to go all the way down and just take this shell completely off. We're not saving the tail, even the tail's coming out, so you just pinch that a little bit. And then you have your prawn meat, and you have your head and shells, which is really what we need for the bisque. So, I will continue to prep these, and then I will see you over on the stove in just a few minutes, and we will start the actual bisque recipe. So just like that. I'll see you back on the stove in just a few minutes. So we've removed the heads and we've taken all the shells off, cleaned our prawns. We are going to dice up all but 2 of these little prawns. So we're making 2 servings of prawn bisque, and we're going to save 2 whole prawns or whole shrimp as garnish. The rest of them we're going to dice into small cubes. We have our pan on the stove heating up. We're going to add a little bit of oil to it. And then we're going to roast off or cook off these beautiful shells. Now you might remember I told you to save all of your shells and throw them in the freezer for the shrimp or prawns that you've been eating. And that's what I just tossed in there. You can see some of them are already cooked, others are not. We'll get this up to temperature, and we'll cook. By cooking these in a little bit of oil, we will draw out the flavor. So stand by. So our pan's getting hot. You can hear the sizzle. What we want to see is, of course, we want to see all of these shells turn pink, like the ones in here who are already cooked. And this is going to draw out all of that wonderful prawn flavor. This just takes a couple minutes. This happens very quickly. You can see they're starting to turn already. The smell is really wonderful. Now I put a little bit of olive oil in here. You can do this with butter as well. Sometimes I'll do butter. It gets a little more rich flavor. We are going to add some cream later to our bisque, so I'm not overly worried about it. And you can tell when you have these where you want them because they've all turned pink. We're very close now. So once we have them there, we're going to add 2.5 cups of water. We're making really 2 portions of bisque today. This first process is really just making the shrimp stock or the prawn stock, because I refuse to make prawn bisque with chicken stock or vegetable stock. So as our water comes back up to temp and starts to boil, we'll let these simmer for 3 to 4 minutes, draw out as much of that flavor as we can. One of the other tricks while this is simmering is we want to kind of smush these heads down in here and help release some of that extra flavor. Again, we'll let these simmer for 3 or 4 minutes. And I know I want to add some salt to this, so I'm going to go ahead and put some salt in here now. I'll end up having to salt the dish later, but I feel better adding a little bit to get started. Once we have allowed these to simmer for about 4 minutes, we will strain off the shells, obviously save that beautiful prawn stock, and then we'll get on with the rest of the recipe. So I won't make you watch these simmer. We will be back in just a few minutes and continue the process. So we have all the rest of our ingredients together. We have strained our shrimp stock, so it's ready to go. We had 1/2 pound of beautiful prawns. I kept 2 of the small ones whole and diced the others. 1 small onion chopped. This is 1/2 cup of sour cream, 1/2 cup of whipping cream, 4 tablespoons of tomato paste, 2 tablespoons of flour, 3 large garlic cloves, finely diced. Now, I love using this garlic press to do that. Press it right in there, it saves the oil. It does a great job. There's a link to this down below. 3 tablespoons of butter, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, a full teaspoon of ancho chili. You can use any chili powder here. I use ancho chili, and a teaspoon of ground coriander. So we're going to go back to the stove. We'll bring this all together and have a beautiful bisque when we're finished. So I'll see you back over at the stove. All right, so we're back at the stove. I'm going to start out with our oil and butter in the pan. And while butter is melting down, we'll add in our onion and we'll saute this onion until it is translucent and sweet. So this will take just a few minutes. The other thing, of course, that's happening here is we're sweating off the liquid in that onion. We don't want strong onion flavor, so using a mild onion, a white onion, or a mild yellow onion for this is better than using a red onion or a very harsh one. I love to use the Vidalias when they are in season. They are such a sweet onion. This is just a mild white onion. This is a new saucepan for me. This is a Tefal 3-quart saucepan. It's a new design from Tefal. I'll have a link down below to this as well. I really like it. Does a great job of transferring the heat up from this glass top stove, but I think it would probably work well with any stovetop. Our stove is on medium high. We don't want to brown these onions, but we do want to get a little bit of color on them. All right, so we're going to add in our garlic. And we don't, of course, want the garlic to burn, so we'll go through these next steps pretty quickly. The 2 prawns that we saved out, we're going to throw in here and just saute with this in this oil a little bit. This will take just a minute. These are going to go for garnish. So these will go on top of the finished bisque. And they don't have to cook very long at all. And they'll have this beautiful garlic flavor. And again, I don't want to burn that garlic, so we'll keep moving this stuff around the outside here a little bit. And as you can see, these two little garnished prawns are just about ready. Very fast. So these will come out. Now our flour goes in. And we'll stir that around, cook out some of that flour flavor. Obviously, we don't want this to taste like flour. We had a little bit of browning going on our garlic, but that's okay. Now we'll add our 2 cups of beautiful prawn stock. Very nice. Now, without waiting for this to come back to a simmer yet, we'll go ahead and add our cream and our spices. As well as our tomato paste. Now this will come back up to a simmer, and we will let this simmer for about 5 minutes, maybe a little less. So we will come back in just a few minutes. Now that we've been simmering for just about 4 minutes, we'll add our prawn meat in here. And we'll cook this for another 3 minutes just to finish incorporating it. As soon as this comes back to a simmer, and we'll give it a taste, see where we're at. Going to need a little salt. That wonderful ancho chili. You can use a different chili if you'd like. I like the ancho, it's got a little extra bite to it. And we'll just let that simmer for about another 2.5 minutes. Again, you don't want to overcook these prawns, so you do want to be a little careful on your time here. They cook very quickly. Right, we've turned the temperature off, turned the stove off. We're going to add our sour cream and just stir this in. We don't want it to come back to a boil with the sour cream in here. I can tell you this smells delicious. I'm sure it is going to be absolutely wonderful. There's enough seasoning in here. I never have to put any additional pepper in. If you go with with less chili powder, or a little milder chili powder, you might need to add black pepper. And I really didn't need to add much salt, although I did add a little bit. And that is all we need. So when we come back, we will give this a taste. So we'll see you back on the counter in just a minute. Okay, so here we have it, our beautiful prawn bisque. We're gonna give this a taste now. Lovely, rich flavor. The balance of spices is very nice. You can taste that wonderful shrimp or prawn stock. So we know it's a prawn bisque, not a chicken bisque with prawns in it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please subscribe, help me grow the channel, share it with a friend. And I'll be back again next time on Tim Can Cook.